Hello everyone, in our previous videos, we introduced you to universities in Hong Kong and Macau and their MA in translation programs. Thank you for your comments and support. We will continue to do our best to make the channel better. Please continue to support us. Starting from today, we will introduce the MA in translation programs of universities in Chinese mainland. If there are comments asking for universities overseas, we will also introduce some overseas universities in Beijing. Today, we will introduce the MA in Translation at Beijing Foreign Studies University, which was mentioned in the comments section before. After you watch this video, hope you can have a better idea about this program and you should be able to make a better and well-informed choice. Founded in 1941 as the Yan Foreign Language School, Beijing Foreign Studies University is a language school of higher education located in Chinese mainland. The campus is in the Haidian district of Beijing. In addition to the Summer Palace, a rural resort of the Qing dynasty, there are many bars and food stalls in Wudaokou. It is rich in both historical, cultural, and modern entertainment. The unit's library collection is very extensive. For English, except the collection, there are books from the American, Australian, British, and Canadian study centers. In the special collections reading room, there are also books in foreign languages that are over 100 years old. In the multilingual collection, there are also many books in other languages other than English, including but not limited to original textbooks, political history, and literature books. Not only print books, the unit's database are free to students and staff, even graduates. If the unit's library doesn't satisfy you, the National Library of China, which also houses the National Codex Museum, is just a half-hour walk away from the uni. There are two graduate schools of translation at BFSU. Graduate School of Translation and Interpretation and School of English and International Studies, each with different professional focus, different courses and study periods. In 1971, when China returned to the United Nations, there was a serious shortage of domestic interpreters and translators, not to mention the lack of professional simultaneous interpreters. In 1978, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the United Nations formally signed an agreement to jointly train Chinese English translators, and the UN Translation Training Course was born. The MA in Translation at Graduate School of Translation and Interpretation is divided into academic and applied programs. The academic program includes theory and practice of interpreting, translation and intercultural studies, with a duration of 3 years. The applied program includes multilingual interpreting, Chinese-English simultaneous interpreting, Chinese-English conference interpreting, and Chinese-English oral and written translation. The program of multilingual interpreting is combined with English and non-English foreign language interpretation. Students are jointly trained by graduate schools of the two languages. The study period is 2 years for English interpretation and 1 year for the other foreign language interpretation. The professors of Graduate School of Translation and Interpretation is highly experienced and competent. Professor Ren Wen is the current director of the graduate school. Her main research areas are interpretation studies and cross-cultural studies, etc. She has worked as a consecutive and simultaneous interpreter at various major foreign events and international conferences at all levels, as well as an on-site interpreter for a number of foreign dignitaries such as Michelle Obama and Hawke, former Prime Minister of Australia. Professor Li Changshuan's main interest is in the practice of interpretation and translation. He is a registered interpreter with the United Nations and has worked for short periods in New York, Geneva, and other UN agencies as an English-Chinese translator, as well as providing remote translation services for the UN and its specialized agencies. He has also interpreted for the United Nations Development Program, the Supreme People's Court, and other domestic and foreign institutions on hundreds of occasions. Professor Yao Bing is currently on the editorial board of Babel, an international academic journal on translation. He has published more than 20 papers on the teaching and practice of interpretation and the history of interpretation in Babel and other academic journals, and has interpreted for hundreds of large-scale international conferences. He has interpreted for party and state leaders such as Wen Jiabao and Sun Chunlan. And Professor Wang Lidi, a long-time interpreter, translator for the World Bank, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN, the Olympic Organizing Committee, and Chinese government ministries. He was the director of Graduate School of Translation and Interpretation before working in CU Education Shenzhen. The MA in Translation is divided in 3 main programs in School of English and International Studies: the MA in Translation, the MA in Interpreting, and the MA in Translation with a specialism in English translation, which is subdivided into a specialism in Advanced Humanities Translation Studies and a specialism in Political Literature Translation. The MA in Translation in School of English and International Studies is more theoretical, including courses from MA in Interpreting, such as the characteristics and fundamentals of consecutive and simultaneous interpreting. There is a small number of practical courses, such as Simulation Conference Interpreting. The MA in Translation at the School of English and International Studies is a 2 to 3 year program, depending on the specialism. The Department of Translation was established in 2007, but its teaching of translation goes back to the English department in the 1950s. Professors such as Zhou Jueliang and Zhuang Yichuan have translated important national texts such as Mao Zedong's selected works and Deng Xiaoping's selected writings. Current professors such as Professor Zhang Wei, whose main research interests are interpretation and translation theory and teaching. He uses a corpus approach to the study of interpretation and is one of the leading scholars in Chinese mainland. Professor Ma Huijuan, whose research interests are in translation theory and practice and the study of the effects of the dissemination and reception of Chinese literary works. She also holds considerable academic status in Chinese mainland. Professor Sun Sanjun's research interests are in translation cognition studies. He is the editor-in-chief of the journal Translation Horizons, and he is the co-translator with Zhou Xiaoyan of Hillary's biography Her Way, The Hopes and Ambitions of Hillary Rodham Clinton. The requirements for applying MA in Translation of Beijing Foreign Studies University may vary towards the different graduate schools and the regions of applicants. Please check the official website for details of the application requirements. Thank you for watching. As left by viewers in the comments, our next video will introduce Shanghai International Studies University. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and give it a like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!